So, folks, we got to talk about the fact that as I feel like folks have noticed, there has been a conservative implosion that's been slow rolling for at least the last month or two. It might have been difficult to spot because, of course, in order to cover for it, there's like a obscene projection of force. And we get caught up in a million different stories every day, just a torrent of horrific news from all over the place. But the Republican coalition is becoming unhinged. It's becoming unable to maintain itself in a way that is beneficial for basically everyone who opposes the administration, right? Yeah, Donald Trump is having his White House post stuff on the official White House webpage about don't be a panikin. Like it's like the most grotesquely online stuff imaginable that like if you're not in like an obscenely online community for MAGA, you have no idea what a panikin is. Like it's just like a foreign thing. They're trying to appeal to their own base because they know their own base is mad at this point. Part of the issue here is that trying to pander to the base by just saying don't panic doesn't actually instill a lot of confidence. Well, frankly, what we've seen today is that at least a fraction of Donald Trump's power is potentially being shattered here. So, what happened just, frankly, a couple hours ago, is that Mike Johnson held a vote in order to essentially give Donald Trump the ability to unilaterally impose tariffs until July. Unopposed, nothing Congress can do about it. Essentially, three Republicans refused to go along with this and voted with Democrats and killed the measure. Three Republicans, Thomas Massie, Kevin Kiley, and Don Bacon, bucked the party to allow floor consideration of measures to end Trump's tariffs. The first such measure, likely on Canada tariffs, could come up as soon as tomorrow. So we're starting to see, we're going to start to see Congress move on this tariff situation, and I expect Donald Trump to be infuriated and embarrassed because, like, his main thing has been levying unilateral tariffs in order to fix the economy, and it has gone about as poorly as it could have possibly gone. Well, it is going to I'm not going to say that this is going to like fix a bunch of problems, but what I am going to say is that this is notable in that it is one of the first congressional actions outside of the Jeffrey Epstein files vote that has flown in the face of what Donald Trump wants to do. And so this is, in fact, quite good. Like, I know that we're not used to good news right now, but effectively, Donald Trump is running out of the ability to hold sway over all of these Republicans because, frankly, I know it might not seem like it from the outside, but Republicans do actually respond to pressure from their base. They don't really respond to pressure from us because they know they're not going to get our votes, but they respond to pressure from their base. And what they're seeing now is that the Republican base is increasingly dissatisfied with Donald Trump, even among white evangelicals. We took a look at a poll just the other day that over the course of like the last year, he's been steadily losing sway among white evangelical voters, which is a colossal problem if you are a Republican looking to get reelected in the midterms or a Republican looking to get reelected in 2028. There is a limit to how much utility Donald Trump has for these people. And up until now, they have been shoving themselves straight up his ass in order to gain any kind of advantage in the political sphere that they can get. That time has, I think, is rapidly coming to an end. I'm not saying that they're not still going to be in lockstep with him in some ways, but there are going to be some areas like tariffs where they are going to look to distance themselves from Donald Trump, especially as Donald Trump goes increasingly old and bonkers. The Obama monkey ape thing that he posted on Truth Social is another example of that, right? Like, one of the issues with Donald Trump is that he is a raging racist, and we've known that the entire time. Like, he literally had to be sued by the federal government, he and his dad, for not renting apartments to black people. Like, we know that he is a hateful, bigoted piece, okay? And the issue here is not necessarily for the MAGA base anyway, it's not necessarily the racism, because a lot of them are okay with that. But the issue is, by being so blatant about it, he has foregone the dog whistle. And the issue is, a lot of these Republican voters, and I know this might seem insane, do not view themselves as racist. And when you take away the veneer, when you take away the dog whistle, what winds up happening is that they have to suddenly go, wait a minute, this guy's actually racist. What's going on here? And that's a big problem, because it makes the support of the for the Republicans waver, you know? And I know that sounds really strange, because obviously a lot of Republican politicians are incredibly racist, so how could their base not think of themselves as such? But the issue is, like, every single one of those Republicans views themselves as the protagonist of their own story. They all think that they have shonen anime protagonist vibes. And it
like a Pokemon, he only
represents a
knows
problem
full
to them.
moves, and unfortunately for him, none are effective against nations and states that don't bow to bluster.
It's true. And every single 4 of those moves is double down. It's like a Magikarp that only knows how to splash. It's the only thing he can do. And so, also, thank you for the $5 super chat, and thank you for being the first person to support the stream. Main character syndrome, in a way, right? Like, in a way, they're suffering under this idea that they could not possibly be racist because they're the main character, you know? The reason I bring this up is because early on in my streaming career, I talked to a lot of, like, racists and Nazis. I would debate them on my show.
This was by intention. Second paragraph.
Oh, yes. The Lee Atwood interview. By the way, if you guys have not listened to the 1981 Lee Atwood interview, where he talks about Nixon's strategy, called the Southern Strategy, it is one of the most influential things you could possibly understand about how we arrived in the modern context.
Everyone, did you exercise today? The fascists did. Why haven't you?
And there is an incredibly influential part of this interview where he lays out exactly what the Southern strategy entails, right? Which is essentially, and thank you, Sake Tanuki, for linking it. And the quote is, and I'm going to censor myself here for reasons that will be obvious, but the quote from Lee Atwood, or Lee Atwater, my bad. My brain is gone. Lee Atwater is, you start out in 1954 saying N-word, N-word, N-word. By 1968, you can't say N-word. That hurts you. Backfires. So you say stuff like forced busing, states' rights, all that stuff. And you're getting so abstract. Now you're talking about cutting taxes and all these things. You're talking about that are totally economic things, and a byproduct of them is blacks get hurt worse than whites. We want to cut this is much more abstract than even the busing thing. And a hell of a lot more abstract than N-word, N-word. Which is, again, exactly the issue that Donald Trump is running into right now. Which is that, essentially, if you just come out and say, after you've gotten your base used to the euphemisms, if you just come out and say the bigotry, it creates a dissonance that is profoundly uncomfortable for, especially a MAGA base. Yes, I did mean Lee Atwater. I'm sorry. I'm sure Lee Atwood is another person that is not Nixon's advisor. For I do apologize. Wait, who is Lee Atwood? Lee Atwood is an American aerospace engineer. Oh, he developed the P-51 Mustang. That's cool. And oversaw the Apollo program. I'm sorry, Lee Atwood. You seem pretty neat. Some cool accomplishments. Can you link that here on Twitch? Yeah. But I do want to tell you guys the actual interview here that The Nation put up 13 years ago is not censored and does have explicit bigotry in it. So here's just the 1 minute long clip over for those over in Twitch who are asking for it. So Donald Trump is in a whole lot of trouble here, right? And like the other thing is, it's becoming readily apparent that he has no plan. Like any of these concepts of a plan that he touted about a year ago are not materializing, and people are rapidly realizing that. Here you go.
I had an incident with a very nice country, Switzerland. They were paying no tariffs, sending stuff over here like nobody could believe. And we had a $42 billion deficit, and we weren't taking anything. I said, well, we have to do something because we have to even that up a little bit. I didn't have to get everything at one time. So I put on a 30% tariff, which is very low. Still, we were...
Just for the record, a 30% tariff is not really low. It is like what would have been considered a high tariff before Donald Trump came into office would have been like 5%. A 30% tariff is ridiculous.
Having a big deficit, but it was half the deficit. Then I got an emergency call from, I believe, the Prime Minister of Switzerland, and she was very aggressive, but nice, but very aggressive. Sir, we are a small country. We can't do this. We can't do this. I couldn't get her off the phone. We are a small country. I said, you may be a small country, but we have a $42 billion deficit with you. No, we are a small country.
Also, just keep in mind, every single time Donald Trump talks about a deficit, what he means is Americans buy more stuff from that country in order to do business here in our country. You know, parts and things. That's integral to our economy continuing to function. Like, it's really, really important, actually, for us to be able to buy those things. And he says us buying stuff is a bad deal. We get the things. What are you talking about? Like, he's complaining that we are obtaining material wealth that directly benefits us.
Again and again and again, I couldn't get her off the phone. So it was at 30%. And I didn't really like the way she talked to us. And so instead of giving her a reduction, I raised it to 39%.
If you listen to Donald Trump talk about his strategy and about how he conducts international affairs, dude is just arbitrarily fucking over everybody. Oh, this person looked at me funny. They get a tariff. You know what? Who manufactured my Depends that are giving me a wedgie? 50% tariff. Who made this bronzer that made me a little too orange? 100% tariff. Like, it's just arbitrary bullshit. There is no plan, and he's just fucking over all of you, all of us, for no reason and no benefit other than to flatter his own ego. And the longer that this all goes on, the more painfully obvious it becomes. And the harder it gets for a lot of MAGA folk to really defend this. That the president focuses this much time and focuses this much effort on just arbitrarily swinging an economic dick around, rather than actually, hey, what about that rural hospital that closed? All of a sudden we need to bring little Timmy to the hospital. We have to drive 3 hours. Oh, it's because Donald Trump cut $1 trillion from Medicaid? Well, at least he's imposing an almost 40% tariff on Switzerland because their prime minister was a bit rude to him in a phone call. What a great use of his time. It's so disgusting. I've not seen the Jimmy Kimmel Trump RX commercial. I bet it was kind of funny. I don't have a ton of time to watch a lot of other things other than prep this show, to be honest. People are starting to catch on, even if they are the dumbest piece of shit MAGA folk on the planet, right? And I say that because even on Fox News, it's starting to break through a little bit. Here's Peter Navarro.
One thing I want to note, the jobs report's going to come out tomorrow.
Yeah.
We have to revise our expectations down significantly for what a monthly job number should look like. When we were letting in 2 million illegal aliens, they're coming in. We had to produce 200,000 jobs a month for steady state. And by the way, all of the jobs that we were creating in Biden years were going to illegals. Americans were going to the unemployment line. That's totally reversed, and now 50,000 a month is going to be more like what we need. So Wall Street, when this stuff comes out, they can't rain on that parade. They have to adjust for the fact that we're deporting millions of illegals.
That's a good
out
point.
Of our job market.
But it sounds like you're expecting a weak number tomorrow.
No, not expecting a weak number. I'm just saying that going forward, when we see a number under 100,000, we don't wring our hands. We say, yeah, that's going to be steady state.
Peter, great to see you.
It's all good, Maria. Always great to be.
Now, I don't know if you guys followed anything that was said there, but let me summarize. Because effectively, what he's saying is, now, I know you guys are used to a lot of people being employed, but you have to understand all of those people who were employed were probably undocumented immigrants. And so any future jobs numbers that we get have to be brought down. And don't worry about it if you see massive downtrends in all of our economic vectors. It's all because of those undocumented immigrants. And actually, it's great now that lower jobs numbers are happening. And I just have to tell you, the jobs numbers that he's touting are, like, they're actually worse in real life. Let me see if I can pull this up real quick. I thought I had it prepped over in this segment, and yet it is not here. Let me grab it real quick. But effectively, what you're seeing is what happens in a recession. When the jobs numbers go and nosedive straight into the ground, that's an indicator of an economic recession. That's really bad. Trump take job. Trump take job. Here we go. So, just as an FYI, the downward revision that Peter Navarro was talking about in that clip is expected to be 666,000 jobs lower than expected. Like, it's genuinely like catastrophically bad. And there are only it can only go for so long before even the most optimistic MAGA folk start coming around to the realization that they backed the wrong horse who is fucking them over. Oh, hey, it's Chicago Cubbies PCA. I am retired U.S. Treasury. You are correct. Recession, good. People, bad. It's... Hey, guys. Is it good? Is it good when your jobs numbers just plunge and the market stagnates? Just as an FYI, generally what's considered good for economic growth is more jobs being added and the line going up. That's generally what's considered good. Line going down is considered bad. I know that might be overly simplifying it, and it definitely is. But in this case, no, it's actually really bad. Really, really bad. Tariffs fucked over my job. Good luck finding parts for phones, PC, and a lot made in America. Yeah, exactly. Oh, God. It's really not great. And all of that is going to be directly on Donald Trump. Because, like, he's the guy who's, like, fucking with the Federal Reserve. He's the one who's, like, just throwing tariffs around willy-nilly. And all of that was going to catch up with us eventually. And frankly, I assumed it was going to catch up with us a lot faster. For those of you who've been watching for a while, I was thinking that it was going to catch up with us last summer. I hadn't banked on how much companies had stocked up on supply, but that supply is gone. Like, a lot of these places that stocked up on supply, they're running out of it, and they're having to make new orders, and suddenly those tariffs are hitting hard. Not all of these companies can just absorb the tariffs, and most of them are more than willing to pass it along to the customer, you know? And AI is a necessary evil. It's a shift in labor. The jobs numbers we're seeing is not a result of AI. Like, generally speaking, most of the jobs that have been lost to AI aren't truly lost. It's going to end very badly for these companies. One of the things I was going to talk about here and actually cut for time is an article about surgeons and healthcare that implemented AI into surgeries, and how that has been an unmitigated disaster that has led to numerous botched surgeries at this point because the AI keeps fucking up. Like, that's a pretty big problem. And like, if you try and fire folks based on this, you're going to have huge problems. And that includes, by the way, coding anything. I mean, a huge, huge, huge warning sign that, hey, maybe you shouldn't fire all of your entry-level employees in order to just have AI vibe coding things is that dating app. Like, there was not a dating app. It was like a rideshare app, or like a for like women, to connect women to other women or something like that. It got immediately hacked because it was all vibe coded. Like, you can't do what they're saying you can do with it. It's all a goddamn scam. Yeah, it was called T. Varnell, yes, you're right. AI is overblown, and essentially the only reason it's propping up our entire economy right now, which it is, by the way, is because a bunch of venture capitalists have been sold on the idea that if they build enough AI data centers and use up enough water, they're going to be able to create a super intelligence that will allow them to live in the lab of luxury at the expense of all of us. And just got to be honest with you, that's not going to happen. The technology just isn't there to make it happen. And what they've just been trying to do is scale up as fast as possible to have the largest model to draw from, or the largest training available for a model. And it's just not going to reap the benefits that a lot of these people think it's going to. You know? The major innovation that Elon Musk was able to achieve with his AI model was essentially just a child porn factory. And I don't know. I just don't think I don't think trillions of dollars of investment to make a child porn factory is actually worthwhile at all. I think that's actually bad, and probably everyone involved in it should go to prison. But, you know, that's just me. Wild that our entire economy is propped up by these monsters. Anyway, one last thing. Donald Trump is also just the pettiest, most easily manipulated motherfucker on the planet. And I say that because it turns out Donald Trump is trying to close down the construction of a bridge from Canada to Michigan. And I do want to emphasize, Donald Trump does not have the authority to do this, but he's just saying he's going to do it somehow, some way, right? And the reason he's trying to shut down this bridge from Canada to Michigan is because a billionaire in Detroit lobbied him to make it happen. Because that billionaire owns a bridge that connects Canada to Michigan. Like, it's just petty garbage. And let's just take a look at this. The billionaire owner of the bridge connecting Michigan with Canada met Howard Lutnick, the U.S. Secretary of Commerce, on Monday, hours before President Trump lambasted a competing span in the latest flashpoint in the deteriorating relationship between the United States and Canada. Matthew Moroun is a Detroit-based trucking magnate whose family has operated the Ambassador Bridge between Detroit and Windsor, Ontario for decades. And basically, he's trying to shut down the competition by getting Donald Trump to be angry about it, by giving him money, because it's the most overtly corrupt presidency we've ever seen here in America. And I do want to point out, this bridge was built, to my understanding, for essentially free, right? Like, this bridge exists because Canada invested in building the bridge. And guess what? It's not going to be privately owned. Like, they're just trying to shut down free infrastructure in order to serve a billionaire who's giving money to Donald Trump. Like, it's just that simple. It's just that obvious. It's disgusting. So, I don't know. It just kind of seems to me at some point, this all piles up to such a degree that these people suddenly start realizing, oh, wait, I'm the sap.
Earlier today, Sam Sater misspoke, accidentally calling Secretary of Commerce Howard Lutnick Howard Nutlick.
Yeah, I'm sure Sam Sater misspoke.
Oh no, Sam Sater! Wow, what a fucking nightmare!
But y'all have to understand, like, none of this is popular. None of this is actually helping anybody. And it is, in fact, hurting him, not just among, like, obviously, it's infuriating to anyone with a beating pulse in their body, but it's even affecting folks in MAGA country. Like, they're starting to realize, wait a minute, this guy seems to be a liar. That's a big problem, actually, for Donald Trump. But China's going to somehow ban ice hockey in Canada. Yeah, Canada, get your shit together. Otherwise, China's coming for your hockey and your Stanley Cup. That's right. Something heated rivalry. Nailed it. Anyway, I don't know. Just a bunch of, like, disparate stories that all caught my eye, and I wanted to mention each and every one of them on the show today because, like, something is eventually going to give. And I think we're starting to see that something give. When we see Congress start to buck what Donald Trump wants, which is just unilateral tariff ability for the foreseeable future, and Congress suddenly says no, well, that's a pretty interesting development, isn't it? It's a pretty interesting break in the power structure that Republicans have constructed for themselves. And so, all of that being said, I find it very interesting. And let me know what you guys think in the comments. Am I being too optimistic? I have been accused of that in the past. But I think all told, we're starting to see a collapse in the support of Donald Trump, not just in his base, as I pointed out the other day, but also among elected officials, which is very positive movement within the GOP. So with that being said, folks, let me know what you think in the comments. Leave a like, subscribe. Remember, we need to organize against this. It is not just going to take care of itself. We need to get organized. So join your local Dems, radicalize them, make them more progressive. Join your local DSA, make them more effective. And if you need help, join our Discord. Reach out to Dragonfly for help with your local Dems. Reach out to GamerG for help with your local DSA. I want to make this channel kind of an onboarding ramp to get you guys involved in local organizing. And also, folks, check out ImogeneOlivia.com. Gender euphoric lingerie designed from the ground up for trans femmes. Let's
Palate
go.
cleanser. He was so cool.
We will check that out in just a moment, Sake Tanoki. ImogeneOlivia.com. Link down in the doobly-doo. Let's keep on going.
Riverboat Jack is coming to town. All the viewers gather around. Twitch and YouTube are switching streams. All that content is bursting the seams. Politics, being and plenty more. Your sense of fashion you'll adore. So grab your stuff and hop aboard. We're going straight to Jack's Discord. Riverboat Jack.